Alright guys, so first thing I got to modify on here, well I already did the bed liner, but I got to get some kind of a step rail on here for the missus to get up in the truck easily. And you know, I kind of like having some on there too, because in addition to giving you a step, it also gives you some protection for your rocker panels. And we've been through this before, all these gravel roads I live on, you know, I'm really concerned about that. So there's lots and lots of options for step rails, and the prices are all over the map. You can go to like an off-road accessory store and pay $500 or $600 for some step rails. You can go the factory option route, still cost you $400 or $500. But I've gotten to where I really like to see if I can just find bargains and deals on these things, because you can actually, if you shop around, you can actually find some pretty decent step rails that are not overly priced. And so these I got on Amazon. I'm getting ready to take them out of the box here and see what they look like. Now, the brand I'm not really sure of, but there's the information from the box if you want to look for these on Amazon. And I'm going to pop these out here and show you. All right, so here's what they look like. And some people don't like this, but they stamped a Magnus brand on here. So just want to give you a look at that in case you don't like that, but I don't really care. Now this thing is it's like a composite material, but they're pretty heavy actually. And on the underside they do have a steel skeleton, so they should be really sturdy also. And you can see how they have that track system, so I'm assuming that means you'll be able to do a little bit of you know, minor adjustment on them if you need to. But I think they'll look good and they'll be functional. And this kind of stuff, I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but there's a little bit of texture there, so this won't get real slippery like some of the steel bars will. So let's hang them on here and see how they work. What do you think? Now this box right here came separately, and it has like all the bracketry and everything in it to mount these with. So I'm gonna have to actually read the instructions and make sure I know what I'm doing and make sure there's not a left and a right. All right, so you got a hardware pack, obviously. Got your main brackets, and then you have these little brackets right here which attach the rail to those. So basically you just go up into there. Here, let me see if I can get a view in here. See how they attach? So the Rams, and I guess a lot of vehicles nowadays, have studs already pre-installed at the factory. So you just hang your brackets on the studs and put your nuts on there, make sure they're good and tight. Now, one thing I had to do was take a rough cloth, a sanding pad, and I had to go over those studs because in the manufacturing process they got paint on the threads. So I had to take that and kind of clean up the threads a little bit so that those nylock nuts would thread down. But now you can see they're good and sturdy. So next step is just to take those brackets and just lay them in here. I apologize if this camera's not focused, but you just lay these brackets in there. So you just like so, and then you can flip it over and set it down on the main, we'll call those the feet, and then you can bolt it all down from there. So you know, it's a little bit more involved and more difficult than the ones on the Jeep Gladiator, but it's not too bad. Just like that. And again, I apologize for the terrible camera lighting, but the cool thing about the way this this works is that since these fit inside that channel, what that allows you to do is move the rail forward and backward until you get it exactly where you want it in relation to your cab and your front door opening up there. So you've got a little bit of adjustment there, which is kind of a nice thing, I guess. But I'm gonna go ahead and bolt these down. That's generally what they're gonna look like though. Not too bad. They do have a little bit of a gap there, so if you don't want to see any gap at all, these might not be the ones for you. But they don't hang down as low as some of the other ones I've seen on Amazon. And so there you go. And like I was saying, you can kind of see how coming off of the front tire, gravel and all that is going to be kind of deflected. So these will also help to protect your rockers and your doors and that kind of thing as well. So anyhow, there's a look at these Magnus, I suppose, brand. The box had AFS on it, so who knows which company actually makes these things, but that's what they look like. Amazon, I think they were less than 300 bucks. I want to say like 275 maybe or so. Not too bad. All right, guys, I'm going to finish this up and move on to the... So just in case you're wondering, the stock 20 by 9 inch wheel off of a Bighorn Edition Ram is 27 pounds. The tire is 45 pounds. The rim is 27 pounds. I just stuck them on my bathroom scale. So the whole combo goes 72 pounds, which isn't all that bad. Anyhow, so yesterday you saw that I got the step rails on, and in my quest to continue to protect the paint and the rockers and the fenders from the gravel on these gravel roads we have out here, I thought it would be a good idea to put some fender flares on, because obviously on these pickup trucks, you know, the fender sheet metal rolls around, and so you've got exposed steel, painted steel here on the lips, and all the gravel coming off the tires will hit that, and then, you know, and eventually you'll have rock chips and rust and corrosion in there. So the cool thing about these fender flares that you can buy is that obviously the plastic rolls around the lip of the fender, and so you don't have any exposed metal in there anymore. These are the Bushwacker OE style fender flares that I picked up from, I think I got these from eBay for like $180 or something for the whole set. And the instructions, you know, are original Bushwacker instructions, so I guess they're the real deal. Now, to install these, you got to have an 8mm socket, and I found that one of these electric ratchets is extremely helpful, because once you take all these screws out all the way around, the inner liner is going to try and shift and move around on you. So unless you've got somebody to help you, you got to take one hand and try to hold everything lined up, you know, together, while you take the other hand and put the screw back in. So if you had a manual ratchet, it would just make it really hard to do. And I have found that this electric one makes this job possible, really, if you're trying to do it by yourself. So the front ones are pretty simple. You've got a whole bunch of those screws all the way around that you just take out, put the fender flare on, and then put the screws back in. Now in my case, I'm going to make some rubber mud flaps to put down here also. So I left these two out for now, and I'm going to drill that third one out, and I'm going to use those to attach a mud flap, which I'm going to do here in just a few minutes. The most time-consuming part of this whole thing was putting this rubber lip on here, which kind of protects your paint. That took forever to do that part, but it looks pretty good if you take your time and do it right. So there's the front one. I just got to button it on down and put my mud flap on, and then we'll move on to the rear. But just wanted to show you that, and when I get them finished, we'll come back in just a minute and I'll show you what they look like. But they seem to be, like I said, pretty sturdy, and you know, there's no more exposed metal getting beat up by the gravel. That's what I was going for. All right, so I finally got the fender flares and my homemade mud flaps on there. Basically with the flaps, all I did was bought some sheeting off of, I think it was eBay. I found some rubber sheeting, and it was already pre-cut into the shape of a mud flap. So when I went to put the fender flare on, I just left those bottom 2 or 3 screws out until I was ready to put the flap on, and I ran the screw through everything to hold it on there. But you can see the fender flares actually turned out pretty good. I got to clean this truck up now. Don't know why, because it's getting ready to rain again, but I just feel like washing it, so I'll probably go ahead and give it a bath. But those Bushwacker OE style fender flares actually look pretty good on these trucks. Not too bad at all. I wanted something on purpose that was low profile and didn't stick out really far, because I'm planning on keeping these factory wheels. So, you know, I didn't want it to look silly. But good protection and good looks. And like I said, I got a pretty good deal on them on eBay. So I'm pretty happy with it. And should keep the paint on the truck looking fresh out here on all this gravel we've got out in the country. So looks pretty good. I'm going to try and find some links to this stuff and post in the comment section below, or down in the description below this video, if you guys want to find these parts that I just put on. But overall, it wasn't too bad of a process. Took me a couple of hours to put them all on, and not too terribly bad. But that electric ratchet, guys, you got to have one of those. I mean, you don't have to, but it made the job so much easier. So I got that on Amazon also. I think it was like 60 bucks. Best tool that I've bought in a long time. So get you one of those electric ratchets. Makes a big difference. All right, get off here now. Give this truck a bath. I got to go to town, pick my son up from school. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.